We're live and now recording.
Thanks, Katie. For the final time, can you do a roll call?
Yes. Mr. Antonio, Mr. Badger,
Here.
Mr. Bleefeld, Ms. Kiavachi,
Here.
Mr. Golson,
Here.
Ms. Karianikis,
Here.
Dr. Morris,
Here.
Mr. Walker,
Here.
Mrs. Ginsburg.
Here.
7 present, 2 absent, and 0 student board reps this evening.
Thank you. Will everybody please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Welcome everyone to this August 19th meeting of the Wissahickon School Board, and welcome everyone back to another wonderful school year. If you take a look at our agenda, you'll see first the listing of our prior meetings. Our prior meetings were back in May and June of this year. We then list up at our upcoming meetings. We will be meeting next on September 23rd for our Communications Committee meeting. Then on September 23rd again for our Curriculum and Technology Committee meeting. September 30th will be our next work session. And then October 7th will be our next regular public board meeting. And I understand some of those dates, possibly the committee meetings might be changing, but we'll update that if necessary. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, and then let me scroll down. All right, we now have our first presentation of the year, our new staff welcome video. I always love this. I look forward to seeing this.
All right, I am very excited to introduce the new staff of the 24-25 school year. We have been working very hard and hiring since March. That is 6 months if anybody doesn't want to do the math. Our first posting went out in February, and we actually just had demo lessons not too many hours before this. So just to fill some more spots. A big shout out to Dr. Dewan, our directors and principals for the hours upon hours they have spent reviewing resumes and in interviews. And of course, our human resources team for getting all these wonderful folks entered and onboarded for tomorrow. So this year we filled 94 vacancies and we're hiring a total of 75 new staff. Yeah, a lot. Nothing much. So I hope you enjoy this great montage. Kristen and Elizabeth from our communications department put it together. So special thanks to them. I think you're going to really enjoy it.
My name is Amy Pescatori, and I am the secretary to the Director of Teaching and Learning, and my favorite food is cheeseburgers.
Hi, I'm Rachel Gottenberg. I am the assistant principal at Stony Creek, and my favorite book is Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss.
Hello, my name is Anthony Phillip. I'm a biology teacher at Wissahickon High School. My favorite animal is a dog. I have 2 dogs myself, so I'm a big dog guy. And when I was younger, when I grew up, I wanted to be a doctor. Ended up going to medical school for a little bit, and then I decided it wasn't for me, and now I love being a teacher.
Hello, my name is Kristen Serene. I've been with Wissahickon for approximately the last 3 years in one capacity or another. This year I was hired as the long-term sub in 1st grade at Lower Gwynedd, and I could not be happier because I absolutely love the people there. My favorite animal would be the otter, because I could sit at the zoo and be the crazy lady that sits there for hours just watching them play like puppies.
Hi, my name is Samantha Ward, and I'm going to be a speech-language pathologist at Shady Grove Elementary School this year, and my favorite food is any kind of breakfast food.
Hello, my name is Daphne Marquis. I'll be the English long-term substitute teacher at the high school, teaching 11th grade. And my favorite animal is birds, specifically a great blue heron. That's my favorite.
Hi, my name is Jane Spivak, and I'm going to be a long-term English sub for 10th grade at the high school. And my favorite book is Verity by Colleen Hoover.
Hello, my name is Katie Ann Dick, and I'm a speech language pathologist. I will be working at the middle school at Stony Creek Elementary as well as Lower Gwinnett Elementary, and my favorite food is a grilled chicken Caesar salad.
Hi, I'm Dylan Procopio. I am a long-term sub at the high school, 9th grade biology, and what I wanted to be when I grew up was a mad scientist.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Kennedy. I am the assistant principal at Shady Grove Elementary School, and my favorite book is Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak.
Hi, my name is Brittany Grudy. I will be a second grade teacher at Shady Grove Elementary School. And when I was little, I wanted to be a teacher, which is great because that's what I chose to do for my profession.
Hi, my name is Emily Pisani. I am a long-term sub learning support teacher at Shady Grove Elementary, and my favorite food is French fries.
Hi, my name is Carly Dukowitz, and I will be teaching first grade at Bluebell Elementary this year. My favorite book would have to be anything by Colleen Hoover. It's kind of, I know, everyone's favorite these days, but a few of my favorites are It Ends With Us, obviously, and then Too Late and November 9th are three of my favorites that stick out.
Hi, I'm Christy Swift. I will be teaching 5th grade at Lower Gwinnett Elementary, and my favorite movie is It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart.
Hi, my name is Gloria Netzer. I am the emotional support teacher at Bluebell Elementary. Growing up, I wanted to be a marine biologist. I've always dreamed of living by the ocean. I still dream of living by the ocean. I love all animals, but ocean animals the most.
Hi, my name is Leah Curtis. I'll be in 3rd grade at Bluebell Elementary and then 4th grade at Shady Grove. My favorite animal is a zebra. I most wanted to be a vet when I was growing up, and if I could meet anyone, I would meet Elizabeth Taylor.
Hi, my name is Rhonda Johnson. I will be a special education teacher at the high school, and my favorite food is pretty much a lot of them. I like to experience food from different cultures.
Hi, I'm Farrell Sharkey, and I'll be joining the team at Stony Creek teaching 1st grade. My favorite food is pizza, and when I was little, what I wanted to be when I grew up was a zoologist because I loved animals.
Hi, my name is Marianne Tidwell, and I'll be teaching 2nd grade at Shady Grove Elementary. My favorite animal is cat. I actually have 2 cats. Their names are Gary and Grace, and I love them.
Hi, my name is Rihanna Heim. I will be at Wissahickon Middle School this year as a behavior analyst, and my favorite movie is still Magnolias.
Hi, I'm Tim Bricker. I'm the business administrator. When I was younger, I wanted to be an Air Force pilot.
Hello, my name is Lauren Kratz. I'm a reading specialist at Shady Grove Elementary, and my favorite movie is anything by Adam Sandler because he makes me laugh and I love to laugh.
Hi, I am Michaela Jordan. I will be teaching kindergarten at Shady Grove Elementary School, and my favorite animal is dogs, specifically golden retrievers because I have one named Kona at home.
Hi, my name is Richie Bleiweiss. I'm a brand new 6th grade teacher for English Language Arts at Wissahickon Middle School. And if I had to choose one person to meet and spend some time with, it would definitely be Elvis Presley. Maybe he would sing a song or two for me.
Hi, I'm Sonia Thorne. I'm the proud assistant principal at Bluebell Elementary School. One of my favorite children books is A Bad Case of the Stripes by David Shannon.
Hi, I'm Nicole Zigman. I'm the behavior analyst at Bluebell Elementary School. My favorite animal is a red panda because they are so cute.
Hi, my name is Wade Shiley. I am the general music teacher at Shady Grove Elementary School, and what I wanted to be when I grew up was a music teacher.
Hi, I'm Alden Flavin. I will be teaching 5th grade at Shady Grove this year. And my favorite book is The Nightingale. I'm actually excited they're coming out with a movie, I think in the next year or two with that. So that's really exciting.
Hi, my name is Christy Kremasta, and I am a speech language pathologist. I am going to be working at Stony Creek Elementary School, and my favorite animal is a giraffe.
Hi, my name is Kendall Brody. I'm teaching 9th grade English at Wissahickon High School, and my favorite food is definitely pizza. You can eat it at any hour of the day, and I'm a strong believer that there's no such thing as bad pizza.
Hi, my name is Sarah Capra. I'm going to be working as a learning support teacher at Lower Gwinnett Elementary. My favorite animal is a horse. I used to do some riding when I was younger, and I'm looking forward to getting started.
Hello, I'm Juliana Boggs. I'm going to be long-term sub for English Language Arts 7th grade at the Wissahickon Middle School. And my favorite food is buffalo chicken cheesesteaks, the ones that I make at home. So good.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Holcher, and I am the new ELD teacher, English Language Development teacher at Lower Gwinnett Elementary and Bluebell Elementary. My favorite book of all time is Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom because of the trials and tribulations that both of the main characters, the protagonist and antagonist, go through this whole story and the outcome of life that happens at the end.
Hello, WIS Nation. My name is Arlen Kennard. I'll be joining the community at the high school as a emotional support teacher. I'm very excited to be joining the community. I've been teaching. I'll be entering my 4th year in the classroom. And my favorite food is chicken. I love grilled chicken. I love fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, and collard greens. That's my favorite meal. And my favorite author and my favorite book and shows are all the same. I'm a huge fan of George R.R. Martin. I love Game of Thrones. I've read all 5 books. I read the Fire and Ice book, and they're my favorite shows as well. And I'm looking forward to his 6th book. And I'm looking forward to an awesome school year.
Thanks, Danielle. That was great. Loved seeing all the new teachers and staff. All right. Any other comments? I think that was a great video.
Yeah, that was delightful. Kudos to whoever put the video together, and obviously meeting the staff is fantastic.
Is that the same video you'll show staff tomorrow? I feel like it's fun because it's a little lighthearted and hopefully we'll get them laughing. That's good. I like it.
And awesome that you went through that many like interviews and hired that many people. That is amazing. Were they all in that video? I thought that there was.
No, not everybody was. We got as many as we could. So a couple people missing. Yeah, so 75 new staff and 94 vacancies. So it was a lot. So
amazing. lot
of work.
You still have more hiring to do then?
Just a couple.
Okay.
Yeah, we're pretty good.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. Any other comments? All right, seeing none, we'll move on now to our first public comment period, which is on agenda items only. As a reminder, we allow a maximum of 5 speakers on any particular topic. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. And note that it's not the board's practice to engage in dialogue. When appropriate, we will follow up with responses on board docs. We have nobody for the first public comment period. One person online?
Yes, I have Carmina Taylor.
Okay. Carmina, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and let us know which topic you'll be speaking about this evening.
All right, I'm going to speak at both. I'm recovering from COVID, so I'm going to try to talk fast because I'm also on another Zoom. I have a question. I had heard that Gary Abamont was becoming the interim assistant principal / mentor for Lower Gwinnett. I didn't see his name on the agenda, so I wanted to ask if that's true. And then I have a question about Kristen Rollins' stipend. It's under communications coordinator. What is she getting 20% of what? Is that the fundraising that she's doing? And is that 20% of what she raised last year? So Gary Abamont, Kristen Rollins' stipend, where is it generated from? Thank you. I'll be back at the second half of public comments because I have a lot to say at the, the non-agenda items. So if that can be put on the questions, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Carmina. All right, no one else is registered online? All right, then we'll close the first public comment period and we'll move on to the board president report. My first item, I will note that we will be having another board professional development session in September. And this will be an opportunity for us to meet again with Amy and Nancy. So we'll be meeting here to do a follow-up to that session, and we'll be having dinner again prior to that event. And we'll be meeting to just discuss some board policies. So that'll be coming up in September, on September 16th at 6:30, and that'll be again here in the boardroom, and that's for board members only. That will not be a public event.
That conflicts again with North Monco. I've requested that we look at the North Monco calendar and every time there's a conflict. So, I mean, obviously this is really important and if we can't move it, that's fine. But you know, then both of us are not attending North Monco.
No, and I understand. Unfortunately, that was an evening that we had something we had to do, unfortunately. Because we looked at a couple dates and that was the date that worked. Any other comments? All right. Next, we're going to be reviewing the initial draft of our priority areas and district goals. All right, so we have a list here of our ongoing district priority areas. First, it's 5 different areas of priority, no particular order, that guide our annual selection of district goals. First is academic achievement, and that's to maximize the academic achievement potential of each and every Wissahickon school district student. Next is racial equity, to proactively work toward dismantling systematic and structural racism and increasing cultural competence in the school district. Next is the opportunity learning gap, continually identify and eliminate the opportunity and learning gap at all levels. Value, operate the Wissahickon School District with a focus on both efficiency and accountability. And communication, effectively communicate with persons at all levels in the Wissahickon school community. So those have been the 5 areas of our priority. And next is where we're setting out our goals for this coming year. So these are just some suggested goals. Now we are going to be voting this evening on the goals section, not on the goals section. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. So just 7.3, not 7.2. Okay. So these are just open for discussion then this evening. The first one is, scroll down, sorry. Number 1 is to fill key staffing vacancy in the district leadership positions and carry out a plan to recruit, hire, retain, and support these key employees and others in fulfilling these daily leadership responsibilities in a positive working environment. And this is year 2 of a 2-year goal. So this is something we had previously set forth as a goal, as a 2-year goal, and we're in the 2nd year of that goal. So that's something that would be an ongoing goal for us. So does anybody have any comments on that first goal they would like to discuss? No? Okay.
Amy, I feel like we've pretty much done that, right? I mean, like, I don't know I think at the time when this was set, there was several like positions, especially in school administration, that were vacant. And now I feel like those are well filled. I don't know.
That's very true.
Just keep it on as something.
Jim, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. The 2-year goal nature of this was these kind of the second half of that to retain and support the key employees. So we do have some new people who have been hired and recruited and hired. We have actually some brand new ones we saw on the welcome video, the assistant principals in this case, and Tim. So it is kind of, it's done to some extent the first half of it. And I think it's important to then retain and support rather than lose to a different district or have them flame out. We want to give them the supports they need to do their jobs effectively.
So in this 2nd year, we're going to be working on the support aspect of that. Okay. And how does everybody feel about that? Still keeping that goal in there? Yes? Okay.
Yeah, are we going to discuss a little bit more or hear a little bit more about how we would plan to support and like retain these new people that we've hired? Would we hear more about that as we discuss the goal?
We certainly would. We would put into the tracker on board docs strategies, and then as the year goes by, we might say we've done that or we still need to do this. And I don't know that we necessarily have a detailed plan yet because we didn't know if which of these goals would be adopted, but once they are, we'll definitely fill in some details.
Okay. And currently, I haven't looked at this one on the tracker. Do we have anything up there that shows like what those positions were and how we filled them, who those new people are? Like, I think that would be great to like share out to the community, like who those new key employees are.
And I think I'm fine with it because it's year 2 of a 2-year goal, but it almost feels like we might need to kind of think of it a little bit more broadly and think about ensuring that we're constantly, hiring employees and giving them an environment where they're thriving, like a little bit more kind of visionary than just tactical. So
Looking at
I don't know.
retention.
Yeah, like it's because it's an ongoing thing. I mean, our teachers are, the most important part of our infrastructure. Without them, we won't do our job. So we want to make sure that we're instilling some language that maybe demonstrates that or accents that a little bit.
Right.
Just a thought.
All right, perfect. So, all right, so we'll get some things up on the tracker then, and then also some things like we'll be working on going forward in the tracker as well, right?
Yeah, so it'll take a while for those to get collated, but it definitely will eventually show up on the tracker.
Okay, great. All right, then our second goal was to support the implementation of positive behavioral interventions and supports district-wide as part of an effective multi-tiered systems of support framework that includes an emphasis on belongingness and conflict resolution skills, year 2 of 2-year goal. So tell us a little bit more about what we've been doing in regard to this particular goal and what we plan to do in this second year.
Thank you. In year 1, we looked at that as what's called the installation year, where in our district, we established the PBIS core teams in each of the schools, which includes our school leaders as well as staff members who are interested in supporting the steering efforts around PBIS. So that was all throughout last year. Those core team members also engaged in training throughout the year and did some turnaround training in the schools to really lay the foundation and do all of the prep work for the 24-25 school year, which would be year 1 of our initial implementation. So there was a great deal of work that was required in order to prepare our schools for the initial implementation this year. So the board may recall receiving a memo about requesting, which is on the HR report this year for ratification, this evening for ratification, for us to be able to bring in those PBIS core teams to work with their school leaders and work with our central office leaders. As you may know, Ms. Keziah Latour is our PBIS district coach. So they came in and they worked with her and started to build out some lesson plans and activities to do some kickoff launching for the start of this school year. So we're in a really good place. We're feeling good about where we are. This year, we're also talking about what does it look like to engage our parents and caregivers in understanding what PBIS is and what this looks like in the school and how they can support in the home. So that'll also be a part of this year 2 of the goal, but year 1 of initial implementation, if that makes sense.
And Dr. Dewan, I don't remember, and I'm having technical issues with my computer right now, but if we get into PBIS much on our website, but I feel like maybe a primer or something in our website that kind of explains the what and the why might be beneficial. It might be there already. I'm just not remembering off the top of my head, but that might be built into maybe this goal too.
Yes. There's absolutely more that we can do around that. And that's on our docket for how we can help inform and educate the community around what we're doing, the what and the why. So absolutely, that's an area that we can continue to grow, and we'll target that this year.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
In addition, Dr. Dewan, are there kind of key performance indicators? I realize that this was more of a setup year last year, but as things get moving, are there indicators where you're feeling like this is taking hold?
In terms of the last year, as it was installation year, there would not have been much that we would be looking for other than the training and the sort of buy-in among the staff, establishing those teams. As we move forward, the hope is that we'll see a decrease in behaviors in our schools, an increase in positive responses to behaviors, to be proactive, establishing what we call tier 1, which is behavior expectations for all students, having consistent language across classroom settings, across school setting environments, so that the language that's used in the cafeteria is the same language that's used in the classroom. That consistency is so important. One of the basic tenets of PBIS is, behavior has to be taught. The same way if we have a student who doesn't know how to, do multiplication, we would teach them. Well, if a student is demonstrating that they are not knowledgeable about our behavior expectations, then our first step is to teach them. And part of teaching is to provide feedback and positively rewarding those positive behaviors. And so that's a big part of PBIS, is that tier 1, which is what we're launching into this year. Looking ahead, PBIS implementation is a multi-year implementation process. So then it moves into looking at what are we doing to support students who might need a tier 2 intervention or a tier 3 intervention, more intensive interventions, to help them to develop those positive behavioral skills, those pro-social skills. So that's something that we are always looking at, and we'll be ramping up more toward the future. In general, we would hope to see fewer instances of negative behaviors. That's the goal. But looking back at last year, because it was the installation year and just laying the groundwork for the adults who are supporting the students, we wouldn't have had the metrics in terms of student behaviors per se. Does that answer your question?
It does, and I didn't know if there was just research for these follow-on years after the installation year around just some of those performance metrics or indicators.
Yeah, thank you.
And Dr. Dewan, so I've heard from some parents about situations, and I know there's a very specific definition of bullying. And I've heard from some parents about instances which, I don't think the behavior obviously is appropriate for our students. Words they say, actions they take. So this type of behavior modification or education, the PBIS, this is our hope, is that we're going to teach students to behave differently, to act differently towards one another.
Yes, increasing positive interactions among peers of students, yes. There is also explicit work around incidents where students are mistreated or behaviors that are unkind that are happening. We're not focusing solely on teaching positive behaviors, but there is an element that we have to address and will continue to address, which is what happens when a student does have a behavior that is unexpected or undesirable or harmful to others. And that's where the work that we've been doing around restorative practices, a lot of the work that's been done around social and emotional learning, where we're helping students to know how to positively interact with one another. So it's all connected in meaningful ways. And Ms. Latour does a beautiful job of helping our staff in those leadership groups in each of our schools understand that. And I know our school leaders are turning that around, and they're having conversations with their staff to help them see how it's all interconnected. So while PBIS is not specifically calling out reduction of bullying, it is absolutely something that we would hope to see as an outcome, because as students learn and practice and are prompted by the positive behaviors, then those negative interactions that we sometimes see, we would expect to reduce. And should they continue, we certainly have measures in place where we're addressing those behaviors explicitly and directly to help to shape and redefine the behaviors in a more positive way.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And maybe that's not a year 2 per se, but maybe we put some KPIs around like what are some of the goals we want to see come out of this implement. Like now, we had installation, now we're kind of in implementation. And then like moving forward, how are we trending? Are we seeing the outcome of what we were hoping, or like, are we getting the, result we were looking for? So maybe that's something we kind of start thinking about this year, so that next year we kind of have maybe something a little bit more concrete to think about.
And also, I as far as tracking it online, like how are we planning to put some sort of tracking online to show like what we are teaching, how we're seeing improvement in behavior? I especially feel like those middle school years when hormones are changing in our students is when we sort of see like an uptick in behavioral issues. And I would love to see how we're, monitoring and seeing some change in that behavior. So how are we going to be monitoring this and posting out that change?
Thank you for the questions. So as it relates to monitoring and tracking the district goal as it is identified here, my thoughts are that it would be tracking the implementation of PBIS. So in terms of fidelity of implementation across all 6 schools, there are metrics that we can check to identify whether or not there is fidelity in implementation. At the same time, as it relates to behavioral incidents, that is something that is data that we have, and certainly as it relates to some of the data that's on our equity dashboard is something that's covered in our REOC committee, but it's also something that we can lift up, specifically looking at the effects of PBIS implementation. Absolutely.
I think we definitely should, to see if it is having an effect, because if we're trying to teach, kindness, or trying to teach someone to be better behaved, and it's not having that effect, then we, maybe need to look at other methods to, get that desired behavior.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And it is a good reminder for me to share that PBIS implementation is a 3 to 5 year implementation. So there is a wealth of research around positive behavioral interventions and supports. I could share some of the researchers and you'd know how geeky I am. But just understanding that it's a 3 to 5 year implementation timeline for full implementation across those tiers. So when I think about looking at our data this year, that is absolutely something we will and should do. And we will continue to look at the data. And over the next few years, we will expect to see some changes and see then is our desired outcome happening. But we would need to give this implementation time.
Of course,
Yeah.
no, I understand that.
And Dr. Dewan, I recognize that. I think what I was asking was, do we have baseline data now that we can look at 2 to 3 years from now, according to the program, the research that says you should be seeing this or that? I think was mine.
And the answer is yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question. You talked about the importance of consistency, and would we plan on bringing parents into some of this? Because I feel like what you're saying about PBIS aligns closely with what I read in a lot of parenting books. And so I just feel like, though, it would be good for parents to either have like some sort of online summary of what we're doing, or some, like a video or some sort of maybe possible training or something where, like you're saying, we can be on the same page. I mean, I think we can do all we can in school, and if they're not getting consistent feedback at home, then it's very difficult to change.
Thank you. Yes, the parent education piece is something that's a critical aspect of PBIS implementation. And so we would want families, parents, and caregivers to know not just what we're doing in school, but also how they could utilize some of the same research and application in the home environment. Yeah, thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Rosetta, I'm just looking at you just to make sure you don't have anything. Okay. All right, then we'll move on to goal number 3. Increase opportunities for board members to interact with the community members and groups at various events, and increase communication with community members and groups through multimedia snippets of school board members, highlighting board news, upcoming board events, etc. So that was one of our board goals. We have had more events. And how does everybody feel about continuing this goal, trying to get more community engaged? Thoughts?
I would strongly encourage that we try to do that as much as possible.
Great. Communications chair, Zeffie?
Obviously, more communication's better than less, in my opinion, but yeah, I think, I think this is important for us to keep that two-way dialogue and maybe find more creative ways to reach out to our communities. I'm good with this. Maybe just some tweaking on the words.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you for saying that. Anybody who has, obviously we're talking content tonight, and I wanted to point out that edits and changes and things will be made before we see these again, on the next board meeting. And if you have any specific ideas for word tweaking or your content or whatever, if you email them to me, that would be awesome. And then I'll get them all rolled in before we see these again.
Great, thank you, Jim. Any other thoughts on that particular one? I think it's a great idea for us to continue to try to engage with the community, have more events. Try to pick up again with our coffee with the board for some of our board meetings. And I know that Paul's had some great events with his committee. So, continuing just to have maybe some of our committee events, and whatever else we can put together to try to engage more, like this idea of putting some multimedia snippets out there. So, any other thoughts on that one?
Wondering if there's a way we can change coffee with the board to like, just maybe make it a little less intimidating on both sides. I don't know how exactly you would do that, but like, I felt like when I was out there, no one would really approach me. And I wasn't sure that I wanted to be approached, depending on me. Everyone has been polite, but I know there's people that disagree with me, and that's fine. But I just wonder if there's a way we could set that up. And I'm never going to drink coffee at 7 p.m. I'd be up until the morning. So I don't know. It doesn't have to be coffee. But just I don't know. I'm not sure exactly, but I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
we do it a different format, maybe.
We can brainstorm some less intimidating ideas. And Zeppi and I had one time talked about maybe like a Saturday morning at the library. Might be fun. So we could maybe toss that around as well if anybody wants to get up early on a Saturday and come to the library. So we'll toss around some ideas, but more board engagement. So we're all in agreement. All right. And number 4, in partnership with the WEA, craft a fair and reasonable successor WEA collective bargaining agreement to go into effect once the current agreement expires in June of 2025. So last year we did work out an agreement, and this would be the successor agreement, Jim, correct? Right.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. So, sorry.
I have no objection to that. I'm aligned to that. I just wanted to make another comment.
All right. So everybody's aligned to that, right? Nobody has any disagreement with that? Because then we can talk about any other thoughts on district goals. Zeppi, is that where you want to jump in?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I noticed that we don't have something in the lens of belonging. I feel like there might be an opportunity for us to kind of elevate that. I do feel like there's enough evidence that supports that when students and staff probably feel they belong in a place, they thrive, they do better, they're more successful. So I do think I would like to see something like that folded in. I don't know if it should stand on its own or be part of this positive behavioral interventional element, but since they're kind of under maybe a similar umbrella, but I do feel like the language of belonging, I would like to see somehow elevated in our goals, is my opinion.
So let's see if we can either intertwine them or make them separate goals. I do like that idea as well of having a belongingness goal, definitely.
Okay, if we absolutely can, if somebody may have some suggestions as to wording again, I would be a little hesitant to roll it into PBIS only because that one gets ginormous. Right. It is related for sure. And obviously we all agree that belongingness is a key priority for us, for students and staff. So probably a standalone.
A standalone, I think, would be appropriate. Yeah. Okay. So yep. Zeppi, do you have some proposed language? If not, we can work together to come up with some.
Amy, it's just, sorry. I want to agree with Zeppi, and I think that one of the things that we can also incorporate with the belongingness is this whole thing with being kinder and gentler to each other. And I think that really would be something that could be an addendum to that as well. I think that would reinforce like being kind and, to stop to stop the bullying and be nice to each other and just, I think that's a good place to put it as far as belonging, because if you feel bullied, you don't feel like you belong. You feel like you're outcast. And so I think that we could probably work something into that.
Like really building a sense of community.
Yes. I think that would be a great place to put that.
And Dr. Crisfield, I can kind of put like a rough sentence that you could kind of wordsmith if you'd like, or the other way around.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Whatever you prefer.
No, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
All right, great.
I have one other idea, and it doesn't have to be maybe as a district goal, but just something to think about, like in the lens of academics. I feel like we should be looking at curriculum to ensure that, you know, as many students as possible, you know, just feel challenged. And I know that that's part of academic achievement under the broader goal. But, you know, something like an international baccalaureate program or some other offering that we can give to ensure that, you know, all students, maybe just not those who qualify for gifted, do have opportunities to, you know, have the academic rigor that they want to pursue here. So that was just another idea that I wanted to throw out. Maybe it's something we can discuss more in curriculum, Dr. Dewan.
I was gonna say, I think that'd be a great idea to discuss with the curriculum committee.
And then, sorry, Amy, another thought I had, and this might have to be independent of this, and maybe this is more of a forward-thinking idea. I actually looked at our website, and I was thinking maybe we can look at our vision and our mission and vision. Thank you. I'm like, why am I losing my words? Because it's late. To see if maybe we can ensure that it's still what we want, that there's anything more we want to add in there, kind of make sure that it's aligned to what we're looking to achieve as a school district. So I think it ties into this, but maybe a separate exercise that we do maybe before we start doing budgets.
Well, would that be something perhaps in one of your communication committee meetings?
If
You
people
could have
were
as a
okay with
discussion?
that, yeah,
I think that'd
if
be a good
people-
place to start.
Yeah, I think that would be a great place to start if everybody was amenable to that.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great place where you could start that conversation with everyone. You know, what is our vision? What is our mission? And get that conversation rolling. Great, thanks, Seppi. Any other thoughts on goals? No? All right, so Jim will make some changes here and we'll have some for review next time, some changes.
Yes, the next meeting will be another review, no voting, until everybody gets a second look at all these as revised or added. So again, there'll be no voting at the next meeting. The voting will take place at the one following that. So there's a whole nother opportunity to review.
Okay, perfect, thank you. All right. And then my next item is approval of Lou Kim as the board treasurer for a one-year term effective July 1st through June 30th. Does anybody have any comments on that? All right, seeing none, does anybody have a motion? Motion's been made and seconded. Now's typically when I would ask, are there any comments or questions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Oh, Rosetta, I didn't hear your approval.
I
Thank you.
approve.
All right, and nobody was opposed, so motion passes. Thank you, everyone. All right, we'll now move on to the superintendent report. Jim.
Thank you. The first part is just informational on the school opening update. We have, as we've heard, lots of hiring taking place. People are in place, and then tomorrow morning is our welcome back breakfast for all the staff, both new and returning. We have some in-service after that, next couple of days, and then of course school starts on Monday. And most of the construction vehicles are in a cooperative place right now, especially over Bluebell. The remaining ones will be in a cooperative place come Monday. We've really, that front section of Bluebell where the current entrance is busy. And it's going to be very busy, as we have shared multiple times, for the next few months until that back area, the bus loop, can be operational. At which time Bluebell is going to be transformed from a very busy place to a nicely busy place. And that's, so between that construction and all the hiring, the schools, and by the way, then I would be remiss if I didn't mention the custodial crews, absolutely doing a fabulous job getting the schools cleaned up, because as you might imagine, there's a whole lot of summer clutter and dirt and just general cleaning. That's all been done with an incredible amount of skill and care. So things will be really, really good shape come Monday morning.
That's great news, Jim. Thank you.
You're welcome. The next item I have is also informational. It's a update on our process for gathering feedback from our student athletes at the high school. As you recall, in this forum, we've discussed a desire to provide a mechanism to gather that feedback anonymously so that it can be shared in a way that's not threatening, or there's no fear of retaliation or anything like that. And then used in a way that make the program better, make either the coach's performance better, the program itself. And I'm pleased to say we do have a process in place. It was modeled after ones that are used in nearby districts, not exactly the same, but very similar. After the season, students will be invited, not required, invited to fill out an anonymous Google form. There's no way we would be able to track who's filling it out, so the answers can be frank. And then the athletic director will collate the responses, share them with the coach in an environment that is intended to make the program better. And I'm sure that all the professionals involved will be interested in that. This will not be used to evaluate the coach's performance in terms of their annual evaluation. Rather, it'll be used to improve the program from year to year.
Right. Any comments or questions regarding that?
Yeah, Jim, I'm going to say thank you for this work, because this was something that was very important to me. And I think having the student athlete feedback for betterment of our athletic programs will be really invaluable. And I hope that the student athletes also appreciate the chance to give the feedback this year without, fear of any loss of playing time or anything they might fear in that regard. So I'm really happy that we were able to do that this year. I think it's going to be a really important tool for our program. So thank you.
Thank you for those comments. I should also add, though, that during the season, if a student athlete has any immediate concerns that shouldn't wait for the end of the year survey, they are absolutely encouraged to go to an adult in the building. If it's not comfortable to bring up with the coach themselves for whatever reason, they go to athletic director and go to building principal. And that has always been in place. That will continue to be in place. So I don't want it to seem like we're waiting to the end of the year to address any concerns. It's just that individual, specific, acute, immediate problems, absolutely address immediately. Programmatic things that can get the team, the program better in the future will be part of this feedback process.
And I do want to highlight what you just said, because I think it's really, really important, because a lot of times people don't know where to go with their concerns. And so if I'm hearing you correctly, it's going to be coach, or if you don't feel comfortable or can't do that, athletic director, building principal. And I would encourage any one parent or student that has immediate concerns to follow that chain of command, so that any concerns can be documented and addressed. That's really important for all of our staff and kids here to protect them. Thanks.
Yeah, I echo everything Deanne has said. I am very grateful to see this come to fruition. Just one clarifying item. This is per season, not per year, right? Right?
Correct. Yes.
That's what I figured. And then another kind of item that maybe can be addressed is maybe having that reminder that this is how you can, you know, escalate, that's probably not the right word, but how you can address your concerns, like whether we put it in our, you know, newsletters that go out, or it's addressed, you know, at the, I know some kids have already started their seasons. You know, it's reiterated in some other fashion so that it starts becoming common knowledge that this is how we would like you to approach this.
Thank you. Excellent idea.
Great. Any other comments or questions? All right, thank you so much, Jim.
Well, I actually have an addendum.
No, you're not allowed.
Yes, well, it's not really an agenda item. It's something that I just came up with, and it's related to these things we're talking about, sort of. We have two staff members with us tonight who's this will be the last board meeting, I should say, of their careers here in Wissahickon. And I'm going to call attention to both of them actually at this time. The first is in the room every single board meeting. Her name is, hold on, let me see, Katie Meyer. Yes. Katie has been with Wiss Nation for 8 years now. She started with us as a communications specialist and added tremendous value to the communication department. In fact, so much value that I immediately saw I would like to steal her from the communication department and bring her down to the superintendent's office, which is exactly what I did. And she's been the board and administration coordinator for 4 years. She's moving on to a really tremendous professional opportunity that she couldn't say no to. But I'm here to tell you, we will miss her functionality, her personality, and just general sunniness. So, Katie, thank you so much. I promised Katie that I would not allow for any singing, any parties, any gifts. I had a lot of plans, but as usual, I do what Katie tells me to do, so that was that.
Katie, yes, on behalf of the board, definitely, you were going to be so missed. You have just been absolutely amazing. Anything we could possibly need, you've always been able to accomplish. Last minute requests, getting something printed when my laptop shuts down suddenly during a meeting. When I needed my computer fixed, suddenly you worked in IT and were able to fix my computer. You've just been able to accomplish everything and flawlessly. And you just are amazing. And yeah, you could just do everything and you're going to be so missed. And I know it's hard to believe you're leaving, but I know you can stay forever.
What?
I know. Oh, but yeah, best wishes. And I know you're going to do wonderful things in your next position. And you're going to be really missed though. So thank you for all you've done for us.
Thank you. I've used this word since the beginning and it's really bittersweet. I think I woke up the next morning and thought, what did I just do? But it's really been an honor to sit here every single month and to learn and grow alongside all of you, especially in the last 4 years when public education has been transformational, and I won't be far. So thank you very much.
Well, Katie, I know Jim said no gifts, but
Jim also recognizes who the boss is, so anyway.
and Katie usually takes the picture, but I would really like a board picture with Katie. All right, so Tim,
Katie, I'm
how
sorry.
are you with pictures? You're pretty good. All right, Katie, you usually take the picture, can you use your phone and then you'll send it to us? Well, that one has that cabinet there.
Let's go have a what's belonging maybe. No, that's it.
Yeah. Katie, we're going below at
Not too much. Well, you guys are gonna get us here for the board picture. I wasn't too. All right, everyone.
And I just want to say, Katie, I'm so sorry I can't be there with you tonight. I will miss you terribly.
There we go. It's nice.
Oh, thank you. Before we sit down, why don't we have Mike come up so we don't get back up?
I have a few things to say about Mike too, so the picture isn't the end of his time here. That's a good idea.
That's so good. You look great.
I do, yeah. Yes. So them.
Mr. Banny, if you would just make your way to the podium for a moment, please. Yeah. So, the other employee, as has already been noted, who last boarding movie tonight is Mike Banny, who is actually, he wears two hats here. Most people don't know this. The hat that everybody sees is he's the central office custodian, and this place hums with efficiency because of all of his efforts. It's clean, it works. Anything we need done at any time is done immediately. But you didn't know this, that he's also the superintendent's private meteorologist. And I get daily updates from the person I trust more than anyone else with regard to the weather. He gets blame for when it's lousy weather, and he gets credit for when it's nice weather. So, Mike, I'm gonna need to figure out a replacement for that before you leave. I know today's not your last day, but it's your last board meeting. And it wasn't mentioned yet, and this is a rumor, and I'm gonna just say it and you tell me if it's true. Is it true that there's a quarter century of service to West Nation in front of us right now?
Yes, yes.
How about that,
True.
ladies and gentlemen? A quarter century of service. You will be missed, and thank you so much from all of us in central office.
I'll miss all you guys, ladies. I won't miss the buildings because they'll be here when we're all gone, but it's the relationships that you develop and form through all the years. I mean, I've seen many of board members come and go and staff, and I always tell Katie, my famous saying is, stick around. The longer you stay, the more change you'll see.
Mike,
But I'll be back in May. I think there's a retirement, Mrs. Hay, right? Retirement, formal, send off. So, all right, thanks, everybody.
Mike, I just want to say thank you to you because every time I walk in the building, you always say, hey, Dee, what's up? Like you give me such a bright greeting and I just really appreciate that, your kindness and your enthusiasm to all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, and I was gonna echo that. I was gonna say, you always have such a warm greeting and you always say goodbye to us. And you know what? Because of you, you told me about bringing a baggie for cookies. I
Exactly.
always bring a baggie for cookies.
You learned.
And you always save them for me so that I can grab some on the way out.
Good, good.
But we do have a gift for you also.
I have to do.
I'll bring that up.
Thank you, everybody. Well, let me continue to keep this building humming and I'll see you guys around. Not done yet?
All right, Jim, is your report done now?
Now it is.
No more surprises?
No more.
Okay, then we'll move on to our assistant superintendent report.
Thank you. I have 3 items on the agenda as informational items this evening. The first is a recap of our summer professional learning. This summer, our team of administrators engaged in several learning experiences, and they spanned from opportunities to collaborate with Chaba-like leaders across neighboring districts that are sending districts to North Monco. They also included our leadership training that focused on leading through change. Other opportunities included trainings focused on multi-tiered systems of support, MTSS, which focused on PBIS, restorative practices, as well as academic intervention structures and data, our data system, and all of this rich information that helps to help our leaders to lead the work in the schools, which is so critical. Additionally, I mentioned earlier about the PBIS core team where staff came in to work with our school leaders. Each of the 6 schools had groups that came in and did some work, as I mentioned, to launch off with our initial installation year this year, implementation year. So that was exciting work. So I just want to say thanks to all of our administrators for not just all of the work that they do to prepare for the new school year, but also the engagement that they participated in all of this rich professional learning over the summer. So wanted to give a recap of that. Any questions on that before I move to the next item? Okay. The second item is a recap of our new staff induction. It was a very busy summer of hiring, as you heard earlier this evening. And last week, we were thrilled to welcome our new faculty. The induction program, as you may know, spans a 3-year timeline. So new faculty members who are in years 1, 2, and 3 participate in induction. Last week's sessions included year 3 inductees focusing on a book study led by our instructional coaches, where they used the text, Culturally Responsive Teaching in the Brain. So they did some work over the 3 days that they were here last week on that, using that text. Our year 2 inductees engaged in learning sessions that focused on multi-tiered systems of support, differentiated instruction, proactive behavior strategies, mental health first aid supports, and restorative practices. So that was a jam-packed 3 days for our year 2 inductees. And then our year 1 inductees were engaging in learning sessions led by administrators in various departments, including our new employee orientation with our very own Ms. Hay and our HR department. They also had an overview of our student services department. Our technology department reviewed our technology tools and tips with our new staff. And 1 full day was dedicated to culturally responsive education with a series of workshops that focused on the Danielson framework for teaching. So that has various categories, and it used that framework, but focused through the lens of equity and cultural responsiveness. And our school leaders were facilitating those sessions. So they came in, everyone had a workshop that they did. It was wonderful. So I want to just say special thanks to all of our instructional coaches, our directors, our supervisors, our principals, our assistant principals, all of whom helped to facilitate these wonderful learning opportunities for our new employees in year 1, year 2, and year 3 of induction. It is not just a time for learning and expanding our toolkits for our educators, but also helping our faculty to make connections, especially our new employees, build relationships and start to feel that sense of belonging in their time here in Wissahickon School District. And of course, I have to give a special thank you to Dr. Schmidt, our Director of Teaching and Learning, for her tireless efforts in coordinating and leading and facilitating a great deal of this high quality induction program. So that is that. Any questions before I move on to my next informational item? My last item of information is an update about our virtual learning plan. In response to feedback from staff, our administrators spent time this summer collaborating and exploring what were some shifts that could be made to our virtual remote learning plan. So we considered the feedback that we received, as well as considered the need that we had to make some shifts to our kindergarten and first grade students, because as you know, an outcome of the budget process was our shift away from the one-to-one devices in K-1. And so the results in terms of some of the shifts include that students in grade 2 through 12 will have a later start time with the virtual learning day, when such time should be that the district calls for a virtual learning day. So that'll give teachers a little extra time in the morning to get settled and set up for that shift in the format of instruction, which is not something that they're engaging in every day. So that gives them a little extra time to sort of prepare for that shift. And that is stemming from some feedback we got from teachers. So for elementary students, the start time will be 9 o'clock. And for secondary students, the start time will be 8:30. In the past, the start times for virtual learning was the same as the in-person start time. And so you can sort of get a sense of how much additional time staff will have. And of course, that also translates into more time for students and families to get set up with that shift of learning format for that virtual learning day. We're also ensuring that elementary and secondary staff have a full 1 hour lunch break on the virtual learning day. So that was also based on feedback that we received, which we think will be helpful. The afternoon and the day will continue to be office hours for any small group or one-on-one check-ins that might be necessary for students. And then at the K-1 level, because our K-1 students will no longer have one-to-one devices, we are not able to engage them in synchronous live instruction on a virtual learning day. And so what we've come up with is a plan for kindergarten and first grade teachers to send some take-home resources and materials home with students. So this is, of course, assuming we're making that call the day before so that students can be prepared with taking home some resources for independent learning activities that they will do on that virtual learning day. And kindergarten and first grade teachers are going to be working on ideas for what those resources are early in the year, and our Department of Teaching and Learning is going to support them in planning for that. And then on a virtual learning day, our kindergarten and first grade teachers will serve as support teachers by pushing into other classrooms in grades 2 through 5 at the elementary level. So they'll work with their building principals, who will work with reading specialists to design a schedule for what that will look like for the kindergarten and first grade teachers. But the kindergarten and first grade students will not be engaged in synchronous learning. They'll have those independent learning activities that they'll do. And teachers will make sure that those activities don't require extensive adult support so that it doesn't become onerous for families in the home. And I just want to underscore the fact that our district will continue to have traditional snow days. So I just want to make it clear that while we are making these adjustments, it doesn't mean that every day that needs to be closed for inclement weather or school closure will result in a remote learning day. However, we do want to make sure that our students and staff are prepared should the district need to call for a remote learning day. So that update is something I wanted to share here with the board. And in our communication with families, we'll make sure it's clear to families well in advance what the remote learning day will look like in the event that it should be called for remote learning day. And Kristen has already updated our website to reflect these shifts. So that's good. Any questions from the board at this time?
So thank you for all of those updates. Very, very informative. But for the K through 1, in the event that we're not prepared with giving them handouts in advance. Right. So what happens?
So there are specific circumstances under which we would make a call for virtual learning because our students in the elementary level don't take home their laptops every day. And so, excuse me, those circumstances would require us to be making a call or at least preparing students and teachers the day before. So that might look like there's a possibility of a virtual learning day tomorrow. So please send home those take-home resources. Please send home those devices. And we saw that last year. It was just last year, it was devices for all. This year, it would be devices for students in grades 2 through 12. Secondary students take home their devices every day anyway. And then for K-1 students, it would be, oh, remember those resources you prepared? Let's pull those out so that they can get sent home. Yeah. Thank you for the question to allow me to clarify.
So are all the teachers on the same page that the morning, it sounds like the morning would be like a block of synchronous learning and then an hour lunch break, and then the afternoon would be like an office hours or not synchronous instruction? As a parent with 2 smaller children, the main concern is sledding, obviously. And I just want to be sure that we can get out there. At the end of the day.
Yes, thank you for that. And I appreciate you helping us to remember the priorities of some of our families on that day. The afternoon would consist of office hours, which may include some small group instructions. It may include some one-on-one check-ins with students. Teachers who would be planning for that would be in communication with parents and caregivers so that they would know if and when their child might need to be connected. And certainly that communication from the parent caregiver to the teacher is going to be really important. So if there are other priorities that would interfere with that, then I would encourage the parent and caregivers to communicate that respectively.
Yeah. And I do want to mention what a great idea later school start times are. Wow.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you so much for that report. All right, if there's no other comments, we'll move on now to our board solicitor report. Jeff?
I'm requesting authorization for the board to approve items 10.1 and 10.2, which are two separate settlement agreements that have been reviewed with the board in executive session in the amounts and for the individuals as indicated.
Thank you, Jeff. Are there any comments or questions? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion? Motion's made seconded. I already asked for comments or questions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, next is board secretary report. Tim, your first report?
All right, we'll see how we do with this. I'm asking for the approval of the May 28th, 24 work session meeting agenda. I'm also approval of the June 3rd, 24 regular public meeting minutes.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? All right, the motions have made and seconded. Are there any comments or questions? No question. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Tim. We'll move on to your board treasurer report.
This month I have for the approval and acceptance of the minutes of the treasurer's report for months of May, June, and July.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, we'll move on now to our HR report. Danielle?
It's gonna be really hard to follow there, Tim. It actually is. There's a lot on my agenda. So, good evening. For your review and approval tonight are 14 items under section 13 of the Human Resources Report. The first three actions include resignations, terminations, retirements, appointments, changes of status, leaves of absence, spring postseason pay, extracurricular changes, volunteer additions, and year-long extracurricular activities for the upcoming school year. Item 4 includes changes to professional staff salaries for educational attainment per the salary schedule. 13.5 is for a conference attendance. 13.6 and 7 include new and revised job descriptions for your review and approval. 13.8 is for the additional assistant spring track coaches for the middle school based on the program's growth and similar numbers at the high school. 13.9 and 10 are for the renewal of agreements with both Power School and GHR, both HR services. Items 11 and 12 are the agreements with explorations for an interim athletic trainer and an interim assistant principal. 13.13 is a teaching assistant on special assignment agreement, and 13.14 is the ratification of hours for the summer work of certificated staff in the area of PBIS, as explained earlier by Dr. Dewan. So this evening, I'm seeking approval for action items 13.1 through 13.14.
And you also have a blue sheet.
And there is a blue, yes, and that you will find that in 13.1.
Okay, thank you. All right, and we did have a question earlier in the meeting regarding Mr. Abamont, and that is actually, or Dr. Abamont, right? Dr. Abamont, yes, and he is actually covered in number 13.12. That answers that question. Thank you. All right, do I have a motion and a second? A motion's been made and seconded. Are there any comments or questions with regard to 13.1 through 13.14?
I just have a quick question. What was the TOSA for? I thought that we replaced them with APs, but I'm just, sorry, I just forget. What was that about?
Yeah, no problem. This is actually a teaching assistant on special assignment. So it's a classroom assistant that is going to step up as teacher for a very interim period of time to cover a leave of absence.
Danielle, I just wanted to say thank you. This is quite the undertaking. I I know this happens every August and I'm at awe every August, but it's very much appreciated and understood how much work goes into this to fill all these positions, make adjustments. Without our teachers, we would not have this great school. So thank you for all the work here and your staff, because I know there's a team here that works through this, but very much appreciated.
Danielle, thank you so much for all this. I plan to vote no, but it is not personal. It's just something I'm going to do, but it's not about that. So thank you for all your work.
Deanne, do you need us to pull a certain line item out?
I'd rather not.
Okay. All right, any other comments or questions? All right, then, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Me.
All right, the motion passes. Thank you. All right, then we will move on to the communications report. Zeffie?
Hi, we have informational items. This year, we're planning for 3 meetings, one of which has to be revised already. But to be determined probably during that October time period, but we will update this. Then January 13th, then April 8th, which, you know, with how things move around, that might change too. We will probably bring forward some new objectives for the communications committee. So more to come there. I did want to give a huge shout out to Kristen and team with the collaboration that they did. I don't know if folks opened their tax bills this summer, but Steve helped us make a little change in the tax bills where we shared some information about what it is our tax dollars gets us for our school district. And that required collaboration with a number of different, tax collectors. 3, because we have 3 in this area, to get that to happen. And I think they did a really nice job. Thanks, Steve, for kind of helping that happen. I hope everybody looked at that and was proud. I was.
Yep.
That's it for today.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, thank you. Next, Curriculum and Technology Committee.
I am going to pass this off to Dr. Dewan for some explanation. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first item is an informational item outlining our board curriculum and technology committee meeting schedule. So you'll see that at 15.1. Number 2, we'll be seeking a motion. Well, we are seeking a motion tonight to approve the start and end times for this upcoming school year. There are no changes made for the 24-25 school year, but you'll see the times listed there. Item number 3 is the anticipated outplace educational services and tuition costs for the 24-25 school year. The table summarizes the majority of outplace services and tuition costs for this year. However, there may be additions to the list periodically throughout the year. In some cases on the list, you'll see that the contracts are still under review with our solicitor, or we have not yet received a contract. And so the tuition is an estimate at this time. But rest assured that in all cases, the contract status is noted there, and we always ensure that our solicitor reviews. Item number 4 is a list of extended field trip requests for high school athletic teams and clubs and activities. Item number 5 is an annual agreement with the MCIU for Title I services to be provided for eligible students in non-public schools. Item number 2 is an agreement with the MCIU for Title II services to be provided for eligible non-public schools. And item number 7 is our agreement with the MCIU for the Title III consortium. So we see that come up routinely for our district. Item number 8 is an MOU agreement with the Montgomery County Office of Children and Youth. So as part of our requirements for educational stability for students in foster care under the Every Student Succeeds Act, the district and the Montgomery County Office of Children and Youth has established a MOU for transportation for those students. And so we request board approval of this renewed 3-year agreement. For item number 9, is proud to continue its corporate partnership with Lockheed Martin, and we, the Second School District, is very grateful for Lockheed Martin's generous donation. You'll see that we are seeking approval from the board to accept supplies and equipment valued at $20,000, and those resources are going to be used to support our newly revised science curriculum at the secondary level at the high school. Item number 10, we are seeking board approval for our Wissahickon School Districts at our high school to attend North Montco Technical Career Center beginning in grade 9, effective in the 25-26 school year. So as you know, currently our students who attend North Montco start in grade 10. However, this past school year, during the 23-24 school year, a committee gathered throughout the year to explore the idea of changing the starting year to grade 9. And that was in response to some initial feedback we had received from students. And so we leaned into that to explore that further. After gathering additional feedback from our high school counselors, our high school administrative team, and of course, high school students who attend North Montco, we are this evening recommending this shift, and it will allow our students to start in grade 9. It'll allow them to have more time to learn and grow in their respective trade area, as well as gain more hours for their respective certification requirements. And so just when we asked our students who attended North Montco for their input and their insight, the response was overwhelmingly in support of shifting to start in grade 9. This will, of course, result in some additional costs because our students will start in grade 9 instead of starting in grade 10. Grade 9 students attend half-time, so the rough estimate cost that we anticipate for the 25-26 school year in terms of the impact on the budget would be approximately $80,000 increase. And of course, that'll be a part of the budget conversations when Mr. Bricker works through the budget process, planning for the 25-26 school year. So this evening, we are seeking a motion to approve action items 15.2 through 15.10.
The motion's made and seconded. Do we have any comments or questions?
Sorry, I can't help myself, but I'm so excited to have the 9th grade option for North Montco. I believe we're the one of the last schools to send 9th graders. And in some of the subject matter areas, there was a disadvantage because they didn't have enough hours to fill in their curriculum. So their kind of technical curriculum. So I'm glad to see this change coming, and I'm excited to see how many more students get to experience this.
And Dr. Dewan, I know during our prep session, Joe did ask the question about cost. So do we have an estimate, like an idea of how many students may be attending and what the increased cost may be to our budget for next year?
Yes, and that's that approximately $80,000. So that's based on an estimated increase of 10 students entering in that grade 9 level. So that would be what we are estimating at this time. And I do want to also add, in terms of the excitement around grade 9 students having that option, that we have already started engaging our middle school team so that they will start those conversations with students in grade 8, grade 7, in terms of helping them to know what the options are as they're looking ahead to high school. So I want to make sure to be clear about that being a part of the communication plan and consideration for this shift.
Zephy and I had the opportunity to meet with Beth Ann Haas, the new administrator at North Montco, and talked about the middle school engagement, which was great. And the adding to the 9th grade start, Wissahickon does not use all of our available slots at Montco. So this also is a good move.
So even currently, just to be clear, we're not using all the spots that we are allotted at North Montco. So I feel, and perhaps for another time, I really would like for us to look at how we communicate, what's offered at North Montco. For example, I had a whole argument with my child saying that in senior year, you could do biotech. And they were like, no, you can't do North Montco unless you start at 10th grade. So there is misconceptions, there are gaps in how we share that information. And just because you told them one thing in 9th grade 100 years ago, you probably don't remember. So I think North Bonco has some really, really outstanding programs. It's not just carpentry and welding. There's a lot of other things that they offer too. Not that there's a problem with that, but I think people just, that's what's in their head, right? We should kind of push for what other options are out there.
Can I ask, why does the PIAA championship events fall under curriculum and technology rather than athletics? Is that like a budgetary thing? Like, does it come out of the athletic budget when they travel? Or are we just approving the trip under curriculum and then it comes out of the athletic budget?
You're approving it under this committee,
Got it.
but yes, it would come out of the athletics.
Okay, and then my other comment was, can we pull out 15.2? Because just for the sake of consistency, I already voted once this year on school start time. So I'm gonna vote against this one, just to be consistent.
Okay. All right, so no more comments or questions, correct? All right, so we're gonna vote on 15.1 and then 15.3 through 15.10. All right,
To
so,
be clear, 15.1 is an info.
oh no, wait, sorry. Oh, I see, okay. So okay, so then that makes it a little bit easier then, 15.3 through 15.10. Okay, so all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, those pass, thank you. And then 15.2, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Nay, okay, so we have two. Two opposed, okay, and how many are present? So we have one, it still passes. We have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 and yeah, 5 and then 2, yeah. Yeah, motion passed, yeah. Okay. So, all right, then we're done with that report. Thank you, everyone. All right, we'll move on now to facilities and transportation. Joe is not here. Tim, how do you feel about taking facilities and transportation? Okay.
Okay, this month, starting off with 16.1 is informational items for the Facilities and Transportation Committee meeting schedule. 16.2 is for the purchase of furniture for the Bluebell expansion, not to exceed $80,000. There's then 3 change orders, 2 for Shady Grove and 1 for Bluebell Elementary. All of them are due to unknown issues discovered as part of the construction process. Next is to approve the proposal from CHA, formerly Dewey Engineering, to design and bid the work for the stadium bleachers. We then have the request to accept the generous donation from the Bluebell Home and School Association for $20,656.52. And finally, for your approval tonight is to change the contractor for testing and inspections at no cost to the district. We're actually asking for approval for action item 16.2 to 16.8.
All right, a motion's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions? I do want to note for everyone that Dewey has merged or changed names, just so moving forward, you'll note that it's now CHA Consulting. When you see that name, it will be basically synonymous with what Dewey once was. Any other comments or questions though? All right, seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, Finance Committee report.
Again, we'll start off with the informational regarding the Finance Committee budget meeting schedule. Next, we have the approval of the financial reports from May to July, followed by the approval of the list of payments from May to July. We then have item 17.4 to appoint the delegates to the Montgomery County Tax Collectors Committee. 17.5 and 17.6 are award supply bids for a combined amount of $29,901.81. We have 17.7, which is to renew the agreement with Power School for our enrollment analytics. And then 17.8 is for a tax bill settlement. So we're last ending with 17.9, which is the approval of the school bus schedule.
Great, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded. Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. Marshall's not here this evening, but I will just note for the policy committee report that we just list our upcoming meetings for the policy committee. October 21st at 7 p.m. and February 18th at 6 p.m. are currently the scheduled meetings for that committee.
I can add something.
Oh, yes.
So earlier this evening, we approved the hiring of Katie Myers' successor in the office, and actually her name is Amanda Jones, and I'm very much looking forward to having all of you meet her. She's wonderful. There's obviously very big shoes to fill, as we've all discussed, and we won't discuss anymore tonight. However, one of the things that one of her top priorities will be to get up to speed on these policy matters. The good news is we've finished the overall review, and so these two meetings will be just the typical updates that school boards or attorney's office identifies as needed. So you'll meet Amanda soon enough, but she'll be part of that policy operation.
Great. All right, Racial Equity Oversight Committee. Paul?
Thanks, Amy. We just have a list of upcoming meetings for this year, and I'll read them off very quickly. October 14th at 7 p.m. will be a virtual meeting. November 18th at 7, we'll have a community conversations that will be in person at a location to be determined. We have January 21st, February 18th. They are both virtual meetings at 7 p.m. March 17th will be the second community conversations that will be at 7 p.m. Again, that's in person. And then the final one is April 21st at 7 p.m. That will be virtual. That's it.
Great, thanks, Paul.
Thanks.
Any questions from anyone? All right, thank you again. All right, health, wellness, and safety, Rosetta.
Hi, thank you, Amy. So we will have 3 meetings, October 21st at 6 p.m. All of the health, wellness, and safety meetings will be virtual Zoom meetings at 6 p.m. First one is October 21st, then January 21st, and April 21st. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Rosetta. Any questions or comments? All right, thank you again. Extracurricular, Marshall's not here, but I don't know if would there be anything to really report at this point next time. MCIU, we have our first meeting coming up later this month, so I don't have anything to report right now. North Monco, nothing yet.
Their meeting is right now.
That's what I thought. I thought it was tonight, yeah.
So we missed it yet again.
Already over.
Oh, yeah.
PSBA?
A couple of things. There is a law workshop you can register for. That's October 7th. That's at Kalahari. There's an interesting series for school board directors called Data Driven Directors, and it's like a series of 4 sessions that you can register for. That one's online. That kind of looks really interesting to me. The PSBA School Leadership Conference is October 6th to 8th at Kalahari that you can register for now. Are you guys going to that? Not this year? Should we have representation? Should I go?
What is the
For a
date
day?
again?
October 6th to 8th. It's like an hour and a half away. Could probably make it a day trip if you really wanted. I don't know.
I think last year some of us went up for the day.
Yeah,
Yeah, so maybe we'll go for the day again.
I would consider that as well. And then the last thing is that there is a PSBA delegate assembly 2024. Wissahickon can appoint 3 delegates to attend this meeting. It's actually Saturday, November 2nd, 9 a.m. It's a hybrid event, so you can go online. Otherwise, it's in Mechanicsburg, which I'm not going to. So I would do the online version, but they talk about platform and bylaws and financial updates and leadership stuff. So it could be interesting to have some representation there. I don't know that we've ever had before. I'm not sure. So I don't know if anyone's interested in going along and doing that with me, and we can ratify it later, I'm told. Great. That's my update right now.
Great, thank you for that update, Deanne. Are there any comments or questions? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to your next report, Employee Relations Committee.
Yeah, so nothing to report except I'm wondering if we, Dr. Dewan and Dr. Crisfield, can set up a meeting sometime this fall. Is that possible? A fall meeting? a fall meeting for the ERC. Oh, so that would be actually.
I think we do have our first one, right?
Do we? When is
October
it?
8th.
When is it?
October 8th.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you.
It's under executive content,
October 8th, it's probably what, at like 4:15 PM?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
And our second one's February 10th at 4.
I love it. Thank you.
Sure.
I didn't see it either, so.
It's under executive content. So if you're not on the computer, you may not see it.
Yeah.
On board doc.
Right, so I look forward to that. I think it's really great. I feel like we've established a good relationship with the union, and I always love chatting with them. So, yeah.
Great. And I would just note too, tomorrow, at the back to school welcome event for the teachers, we will be giving out the travel mugs. And this is something that came out of a ERC meeting. We heard that they do like to receive, the teachers and staff do like whiskier. So this is going to be this year's whiskier. All right. We are now at our second public comment period. All right, so a maximum of 5 speakers will be heard on the same topic. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. It's not the board's practice to engage in dialogue with speakers. When appropriate, we will follow up with responses on board docs. All right, and for those in public, we do have a couple of those. In person, I should say, not in public. When approaching the podium, please state your name and your municipality of residence and the topic upon which you're speaking. And if you're virtual, please state the same. All right, so we'll go back and forth. We'll do in person, then virtual. All right, so our first in person is Eric Rudolph. Oh, and for those who haven't been here before in person, we have a bell that goes off. Okay, just so you know, so you're not surprised.
And when does it start? Let me get that there. Okay. My name's Eric Rudolph. I'm from Lower Gwynedd, and I'm here to talk about the disturbing noise coming from the Wissahickon Middle School. First, thank you all for your service to our community. Truly do appreciate it. My neighbors and my family have been living with a recurring and disturbing noise, which sounds like an industrial horn. I'm going to try to play it for you now. That's my patio. It's a June morning at 7 o'clock. That's what I hear. This disturbing noise has been going on since the new chiller was installed at the middle school over 5 years ago. It cuts and stands above ambient noise, which includes nature and general life and use of the playing fields. It did not exist prior to the relocation of the AC chillers. Our neighbors and I have notified the district repeatedly through the years. The district has repeatedly acknowledged the issue and responded that it was being fixed, yet it continues. In 2023, the building and ground supervisor visited my home, acknowledged the noise, and on April 19th, conducted a sound study. The sound study concluded that the Wissahickon School District is in violation of the Lower Gwynedd Township ordinances and recommended solutions, which include replacement of an existing sound blanket with an improved sound blanket. I've been a chemical engineer for 42 years in the supply and service of process equipment in industrial settings, ensuring compliance with client requirements and varied regulatory authorities. I have working experience in dealing with these matters, but I'm not a certified acoustic or HVAC engineer. As reported in the study, it was a 56-degree day of the study, much cooler than a typical day in which a chiller is operating, and still the ordinance was exceeded by 4 decibels. Typical summer days, the chillers work harder and make more noise, ranging from 5 to 10 decibels louder, and is not accounted for in the study. The sound blanket solution being implemented by the district per the supplier provides a typical of 2 to 5 decibel reduction. You know, if we be optimistic, at best, it will reduce the sound by 5 decibels. That's not enough to comply with the ordinance. So the chiller was represented in the building permit as a replacement. This was not a replacement. It was a change in compressors and a relocation, with many complicating noise factors which were not addressed during the installation or considered in the sound study. It was known that this chiller produced 107 decibels of sound level, which through known sound propagation laws would exceed the ordinance for the boundary condition.
My name is Judy Kett. I'm on the list also. I see my time, part of my time.
Unfortunately, no, that's not how our policy reads. You have 3 minutes. What we always recommend is that you email any remaining comments to the board that you had remaining to state. Because if we change the policy for one speaker, we have to do that moving forward for other speakers.
I agree, but I think at the end of the day, what I just expressed to you, okay, is a significant safety issue. 107 decibels is a significant safety issue. The area is not segregated.
So, yeah, well, I would.
So it's my responsibility to make you aware of that.
And I certainly appreciate that. So I would certainly request, if you could email the board, our board email address is online, the remainder of your comments.
We haven't emailed you guys previously, okay? So,
I'm saying if you have additional comments this evening that you wanted to share, I would just ask that you email them so that we can certainly read the remainder of your comments. Thank you. Katie, is there anyone online?
Yes, we have a couple hands raised on Zoom. The first one is Carmina Taylor.
Okay, Carmina, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, I emailed Wade before he retired a right to know request about the special education settlements that I asked at a board meeting. Wade asked for a 30-day extension, and then when Tim came on, I had to wait an additional 3 or 4 weeks, only to be denied, saying that the information that I requested was not in the form in which they gather the information. I saw that there's a special ed settlement or a student settlement on this agenda. So I am specifically asking, what do I need to ask to get the total amount of settlements you have given out in the last 5 years and the comparison with Judith? So if I have the wrong way of asking the question, how you document your settlements, I would prefer that you would answer my question to ask that. And why I think it's relevant is because when you approved for my class to dedicate and give a donation for a room in the middle school, we had full cooperation with the new facilities director and the new Wade. After I got denied for my right to know request, both men became obstinate about cooperating with us to transition the room. And so I personally feel, given that I know the superintendent like the back of my hand, that I've been retaliated against for asking for information that is public information, but getting total opposition and no support from the district as we try to give our donation to the middle school. And I just want to say, this is just a culmination of how you guys choose to respond to legitimate questions, and especially to me. I was very disappointed as an alum, as a community member, that you did not have a second school board meeting in June to address what's going on with the teachers in the middle school. And I looked at every other school district in the area. They had a second meeting in June. So you did not engage with the community the whole summer. And then you come in today and it's, again, a bunch of stuff. And I'm personally embarrassed that you guys are leading this school district and that you have allowed the superintendent to manipulate major decisions that impact the school community. So I would like my my questions answered. I want it noted that I have no cooperation from the district to help with our reunion gift to the middle school. Thank you.
Thanks, Carmina. All right, next in person, we have Irene Lewis.
Hello, my name is Irene Lewis, and I have lived with my husband at 513 Montgomery Road for over 20 years. My two children, Timmy and Natalie, have grown up in the Wissahickon School District and received a wonderful education and wonderful experiences. We consider ourselves very lucky to have had the opportunity to be in this fabulous community. I'm here to let you know today about the impact of the noisy HVAC unit at the Wissahickon Middle School on me, my family, and our neighbors. This year, the noise has been so loud that I can hear it all the way down at the bend in Montgomery Road. Every weekday when I go for my walk, I hear the noise in the woods. When I sit on my side porch, my daughter asks, when are they going to fix that noise? When I walk my dog on Montgomery Road, I hear it on the street. It sounds like a car horn that never stops. Please believe me when I tell you we're not making this up. We're people just like you. We all love Lower Gwynedd, and we want to enjoy a peaceful neighborhood, but this summer has been especially difficult. My summer has been consumed with writing letters, sending emails, filling out right-to-know forms, having meetings, and listening to phone calls, trying to figure out how to get the school to stop this noise. If you woke up at 5 a.m. every weekday to this recurring noise, you'd be upset too. Numerous times, my neighbors and I have been told to be patient. Meanwhile, this noise problem has only gotten worse. It has only gotten worse. Some neighbors have been emailing since 2020. We have been told the school is working on it, and a solution may come in a few weeks. We have been patient per the administration's instructions. We've waited for years as the noise continues to get worse. This problem is urgent as the school is operating outside of the Lower Gwynedd Noise Ordinance and has been since April. It's been known that since April, when the sound study was done, that the noise level is too high. This noise is too loud and it's a public nuisance. I beg of you, please treat this problem like it's urgent and take immediate action to address this public nuisance. And please act to restore a trusting and empathetic relationship with our community so that we can all live in peace again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. All right, please, someone online?
Yes, we have Carrie Ferrero.
Okay, Carrie, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, Carrie Ferrero, Lower Gwynedd. At the last school board meeting, Joe Antonio requested there be a presentation on resolutions to the middle school scheduling issues. I understand it's now going to be discussed at the curriculum meeting at the end of September. I'm kind of disappointed it wasn't done prior so we could try to get any additional pushes in for change if they weren't already made. I hope significant improvements were made due to the extensive issues with last year's schedule and the significant impact on both teachers and students, especially the students who need the additional support and marginalized students. And I'm hoping that steps were taken and we'll see a big improvement for this year. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. All right, next in person, we have Richard Gilly.
Thank you, members of the board. I will echo the same topic. My name is Richard Geely. I'm a resident of 525 Montgomery Road, where my family has lived for 20 plus years. And I'm here to talk about the Wissahickon Middle School noise nuisance. I also had children, 4 boys, went through the Wissahickon Middle School, the Wissahickon School District, all great experiences. I'm going to give more of a legal perspective on this since I am an attorney. I'll start by saying, in addition to the four of us that you're going to be hearing from tonight, we as a neighborhood have at least 30 other households who've signed on to a complaint letter, which I believe has already been sent either to the township, to the school board, or both, all of whom similar stories, similar evidence of basically disturbance of the quiet enjoyment of their property, which establishes a private nuisance, and given the number of disturbances, probably rises to the level of a public nuisance. The evidence in course of conduct here with the Wissahickon School District and the township dragging its feet probably likewise makes a pretty solid case for indifference, wanton indifference that subjects the school district to punitive damages. There are already blankets apparently on these chillers. So the proposal at some uncertain date and at some uncertain time to put on replacement blankets that supposedly were ordered, although the purchase order ordering them doesn't have any date of delivery on it. It's highly unlikely at best that it's gonna solve the problem. Just like the supposed adjustments that were made when I first broached this subject with the buildings folks in 2020, it made no difference. Same thing in 2021, supposedly it was fixed, only to happen again in 2022, supposedly it was fixed. And again, this April, I brought the problem up again, same evidence. As Irene said, more attention needs to be focused on this for an immediate solution. And I urge the board to devote the appropriate resources and the appropriate time and attention to establish the community relations that it spent a good deal of this meeting talking about trying to improve. Thank you.
Thank you, and I apologize for pronouncing your name wrong earlier. All right, Katie, is there anyone online?
No more raised hands on Zoom.
All right, then we'll move on next to Nick Militello. I'm hoping I said that correctly.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much. Sorry for the loud voice. I'm a coach of 30 years at Springfield. Don't hold that against me. I want to thank you guys tonight for listening to us. I'm sure when you see a room full of neighbors, it's not usually a good omen, but we appreciate you listening to us and being heard. I live on 613 Montgomery Road. I'm a fellow neighbor who is here to comment on the chillers. And I really have 2 points to just have you hear and think about. When people move into wherever they move, whatever their house is, wherever their location, they have accepted noise tolerances. If you move near Bethlehem Pike, Penland Pike, you accept that you're going to have the traffic sound most of the day. When you move to different areas, wherever they happen to be, I live at the bottom of the fields behind the tennis courts. So I know I'm going to hear in the afternoons, quite a few days, athletes playing, children playing, the horns of the track and field events, the football events. These are accepted sounds and noises that have a time frame. In the past 5 years, here's one point, that noise has been increasing from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m., sometimes even later, depending on what school events are going on. And unfortunately, it's been getting worse. So I'm learning tonight from what the other neighbors have been telling me in their research that they have been moved and the chillers have been moved to an area that now echoes and causes a lot of noise to our neighborhood. So my point is, this is not what we moved into. It was something that was created after the fact. So I think when you think about what the noise is in our complaint, first of all, it is above and beyond the noise tolerance. But second of all, it's not a noise that was always there that we moved into knowing that this was, and we're complaining to change something that had always been. It wasn't always. The second consideration I want you to think about, and I don't know the answer to this, is when we're in this room, we hear the noise from the air handling system, quiet, muffled sound. You hear it. I don't know what that noise is inside the middle school, because if it's bothering us, our neighbors, this much, I'm distracted when I'm working at home. What are the students like and teachers like in that environment? Again, I don't know what the walls are on the other side of it sound like. But that is a consideration that's more than just a neighborhood complaint and truly affects the educational aptitude of students, because I was a highly distractible student as a child, a very typical boy. So when I go into a noisy environment, I had a very, very, very difficult time paying attention. So that's a consideration above and beyond our complaint that you might want to consider and think about for repairing the system sooner. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone online? All right, and then our last speaker is James Chiquetta.
Good evening, everyone. I live at 413 Cedar Lane the last 44 years. We love our quiet little neighborhood. It's no longer quiet. This is noise pollution. This is not just a minor problem. This is a problem that is acknowledged by medicine over the last few years. Noise pollution can cause high blood pressure, heart disease, sleep disturbance, stress, and has more of an effect on children. Memory problems, attention problems. And this board should take this duty seriously, and you should visit these properties that adjoin the middle school. I was stunned when Eric Rudolph invited me over this summer to go back there, and it was like a torture chamber. Literally, if you spend an hour there, we'll invite you over, have beverages and hors d'oeuvres. You spend an hour putting up with this sound. And I believe it appears that the report that the school district had prepared is doing its best to avoid the legitimate figures by taking this 56-degree average for the test when these machines aren't going to be working unless it's a lot hotter than that. And it's been, this is probably the hottest summer in my 44 years in Amblin. Or Gwynedd, excuse me. You all know how many days we had at 90 degrees, and getting it 80 degrees takes the decibel level to a dangerous level. And this process that took place was doing its best to avoid addressing that factor. I also point out a disturbing factor is the building permit that was issued to put this new unit in said that there was existing building, no change. It was a change. This machine was taken out of the basement, I believe, of the middle school and put outside, right next to the school. That's no change. Not to mention the application for the building permit that Eric was able to obtain from the township wasn't signed by the zoning officer to approve the building permit. That's a serious problem. It's right here, blank. I don't know whether there's some administrative problem, but that doesn't set well with me, considering how this other misrepresentation on this building permit. So I urge you to start taking this seriously, because we're not going away. Not going away. So I hope you do your duty. Follow up on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone online, Katie? All right, then our public comment period is done. All right, thank you everyone for your comments. All right, now we're on to board comments this evening. Do any of my fellow board members have any comments this evening? All right, seeing none.
I had a quick one.
Oh, Zephy, yes.
Yeah, tomorrow, I sent around some information to everybody. There is a Zoom call from 12 to 1. Where there's a breakdown of the recently passed state budget and what it means for PA school districts. Tim mentioned that he was going to try to join, but I don't know if others are interested. If you just look, the Zoom link is there. If you're interested in hearing about it. That's all.
Great, thank you. Steve, did you have a comment as well?
No, and just appreciate the community involvement.
Yeah, so I'm really sympathetic to their situation. I used to live next to a highway and I had to move. And it drove me insane. I'm not suggesting you move, obviously. That's not what I'm suggesting. But, you know, hearing more of the story now and getting a better understanding of, when this started, and I guess, do we know how many decibels these new blankets are supposed to bring the level down? You don't have to answer this now. Maybe we could just follow up with it. And then my other question would be, like, have we priced out some sort of like noise fence or acoustical fence? Like sometimes you see these at buildings where these fences cover the whole unit so that it contains the noise. And then have we heard any complaints from middle school students or teachers about noise inside the building? Those are a couple of questions maybe we could talk about, because I don't know how much money any of this would be. I mean, I think we should do our best to try to find a really good solution. I've walked on Montgomery Avenue before, maybe not at the right time or maybe not far back enough, but I'll take another walk down your road. I don't want to disturb anyone, but I can walk on the road. Mhm. Oh, the lower field, right, that butts up to the properties. Mhm, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt.
We actually
We can't, yeah,
Our policies
sorry,
don't
we
permit
can't,
us
if
to
I,
engage.
if I like am talking to you, then I have to talk to other people too, sorry.
Yeah.
So anyway, I would love to hear, just what we are proposing or different solutions we could have for them. I think that's our responsibility, right? I think it is.
But yeah, I think probably we should have a chat with Tim following the meeting. Thanks, Dan. Any other comments? All right, then seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Did someone take my gavel? All right, we are adjourned.